So, what is a standards organization? A standards organization, standards body, standards developing organization, SDO, or standards setting organization, SSO, is an organization whose primary function is developing, coordinating, promulgating, revising, amending, reissuing, reinterpreting, or otherwise producing technical standards. What does that actually mean in the real world, though? A standards organization is in reality just a group of technical experts in a certain field of technology that come together and set technical standards, aka best practices, that prevent the creation of expensive closed-off ecosystems and facilitate the interoperability of their technology working with other technology. Right, and so these two things right here are the most important things, is that they prevent these standards organizations prevent the creation of expensive to maintain closed off ecosystems, because when especially in modern day technology, and especially if your technology has electricity running through it, your technology is dependent on electricity, which means it's dependent on other technology, right? And so your technology has to meet standards to work with other technology, right? So you want to prevent the creation of closed off ecosystems and facilitate the interoperability of your technology working with other technology. Why do standards organizations exist? In modern technology, almost all modern technology doesn't exist in a vacuum. Almost all technology works with some other technology, in, for example, electricity, right? And when your technology works with other technology, there usually has to be standards so one technology can exist and work with another. If you reject these standards, then your technology will exist in a bubble and will not be able to work with other technology. So what does that do? It saves you money by preventing the creation of closed-off ecosystem, right? But it also allows you to make money by allowing your technology to work with the modern day ecosystem, right? So if you make your technology that doesn't work with electricity, you created your own ecosystem, absolutely, but it's an unsustainable ecosystem. Nobody's going to buy your technology because it doesn't work with the internet and doesn't work with electricity, right? So the entire whole hep world uses the internet and electricity, and if your technology is dependent on either the internet or electricity and it doesn't work with either, then you just created an expensive closed-off ecosystem that's just going to doom you to fail. In short, standards organizations and the standards they create are the backbone of modern technology, and that's actually true. How did standards organizations come into existence? Standards organizations came into existence really with the invention of electricity. With the invention of electricity and all the possibilities of technology electricity invented, there would have to be standards to avoid the creation of closed-off ecosystems. As electricity became more and more prominent, technology became more and more interconnected and interdependent. And so the need for agreed-upon standards to facilitate their interoperability became more pronounced, right? So, bada bing, bada boom, electricity gets invented, right? And so power, electricity is being run into people's houses. Now, you need the ability to interface your technology with the electricity that's being run into somebody's house. Like, say, if you have a toaster or a refrigerator or a washing machine or whatever, right? So manufacturers such as washing machine manufacturers, toaster manufacturers, fucking microwave oven manufacturers, right? They recognized that they were going to have to coordinate and communicate and create standards with electricity companies, right? Because they wanted to make their products for the electricity that's being run into people's homes. And the electric companies were like, hey, look at these toasters or these washers and dryers and all this modern shit, all these modern appliances, right? If people were to have electricity run into their house, if people were like, hey, I want a toaster, or I want a refrigerator, or I want a washing machine, that would give them enormous incentive to have electricity wired into their house, right? So the manufacturers of these products were like, hey, we have a common interest with these electric companies. The electric companies understood that they had a common interest with these product manufacturers. So what ended up happening? They decided to agree on standards. What was the first standards organization? Well, actually, I did a little bit of research, and apparently, the first standards organization that I can find was the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. The American Institute of Electrical Engineers was a United States-based organization of electrical engineers that existed from 1884 through 1962. And this was the first real standards organization. And it was with the invention of electricity that people kind of recognized. They're like, okay, we need to get our ducks in a row. Otherwise, this whole electricity thing isn't going to take off. We need standards across the board. Otherwise, we're going to create closed off ecosystems, and it'll be much more expensive for everybody involved. So with the invention of electricity came these standards organizations, and yep,